Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well. Just quickly, we're going to be going through property, rental property, and Bitcoin. Which is better? So before we get on to that, let's just have a quick look on who's in the chat. I know you guys have just joined. Let's have a look. So we've got Mark Volmer. Sorry, Mike Volmer. I always call him Mark. He's always Mark to me, but Mike Volmer. And then we've got John Legend. And we've got me. We've got myself in the chat. Bullduck, good morning to you. Chipper, good morning to you. Warpaint, good morning to you. I hope everyone's doing good today. M2 RSVP, good morning to you. My fellow Brit is in the house, Rob C. And I've just realised I haven't told my group that I'm going live. One moment. Okay. So Rob C, welcome to you. Then you guys are talking amongst yourself. Oh, we've got the beautiful Shadow Chaser. Welcome, my girl. I'm not feeling down today, not at all. But as you guys know, I'm very, very busy with work, and obviously the channel. Everything's good. Okay, what's this? Just in, Coinbase enables PayPal integration for Canadian users to buy and sell crypto. Very bullish. Thank you, Bullduck. And then we've got our resident bot. After the show, do leave a comment on the main video, please. I read and reply to every comment. I do. I really, really do. That's me. I think that's most of you done, actually. We've got 26 people watching, but I know I haven't called out 26 names. So if you are in the background, don't be a stranger. I don't bite. Yeah, all's good. Okay, so today the difference, or what is better to hold: retail investment, retail property for rent, etc., or Bitcoin. Now, when I did my the last two shows, somebody actually got in touch and they were asking about this. And obviously I can't give financial advice, but I can tell you what I would do. And I'll tell you right at the end what I would do. I'll tell you at the end what I will do. And here you go. Nightbot's come back and he said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, subscribe and share. If you can do that, that would be amazing. Right. Okay. So there's a huge amount of positive things with both Bitcoin and with retail investments. Now, back in the day, and I'm saying back in the day, I think for most people, it's probably the case. The best thing to do is, oh my God, if you've got enough money, you've paid off your house, or you've got a house, you still got a mortgage on it, go and buy another house, put that on rent, and you're sorted. That's exactly what my parents thought, and they've got multiple properties. And I will go through. Oh, look, here we go. We've got David P in the house. David P, welcome. I hope you're having a good day. That was literally pretty much what everybody thought. And even when I had finished paying off my house, the next thing was, okay, should I go and buy a rental property? So, but the thing with me is I would never, ever, ever, ever take out another mortgage. And now I've realized that obviously your savings go down, they deplete because of inflation. Fairgrounds in the Fairgrounds in the chat. Welcome to you, Fairground. I hope Lauren's okay. She's not here yet. I love my little Lauren. She's so cute. One second. I've got a screen. I've got a screen up as well. So I've got a screen and then I've got my laptop, and they keep the software keeps moving between the different screens. I will just shout out Black Hat Team. Good morning to you as well. Okay, so that was literally the dream. It was buying your own house, paying it off, or at the same time go and buying another house and put it on rent, and then you would live off that rent. Now I know loads of YouTubers. I know what they've done. I'm also the kind of person, the Brits are notoriously reserved when it comes to asking people how much do you earn, what do you have, blah blah blah, unless you're crypto princess, because then you'll just go and just ask them literally to their face, what you're doing, how much is your husband earning. It's like not comparing him to my ex or anything like that, but I always wanted to know. So that was the thing for me. That's the thing of the past, and I'll explain why. Do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Now, with Bitcoin, I could completely and utterly understand that not a huge amount of people would choose Bitcoin over retail, over a house, if that makes sense, buying a second house, because Bitcoin is extremely volatile. You can lose 50 to 80% of your value in a year in the bear market. You've got no income stream. It's pure capital appreciation only, and it's hard to leverage like real estate. However, Bitcoin has outperformed every single asset since its inception on the 3rd of January 2009, where it was worth basically almost nothing, and today each and every Bitcoin is worth over 100,000 US dollars. Saying that, with retail property, they're tangible, they generate income, your wealth is growing, it's growing steadier, it's growing slower, it's more predictable, and just historically property has been a store of value. On the upside, you get a monthly income and long-term appreciation on the actual property itself. There are also downsides, which we'll be talking to. It requires maintenance. If anything happens to the stream, do let me know, because I can see it glitch already, and I don't know why that's the case. So it does have, so you get the monthly income. Long term, it appreciates in value if you use it. And the thought is, if I don't buy real estate now, if I don't buy a house, a property, blah 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 blah, now 5 years down the line, it's going to be out of price. And today, unfortunately, most people are out of price. But real estate does require maintenance. It's subject to local and market conditions. You can, however, use it to amplify returns, get equity on the property, etc. But you also have things like tax deductions and all the rest of it. Now, I thought I saw some other people. I saw Mr. Alex Storyteller, who's very, very active in the Telegram group. It's August 2025, and Crypto Princess is with us live once more. Oh, he is so sweet. 420, what's up? And here's the beautiful Lauren. She's amazing. And we've got Rustybot. Who's an actual person. Was late, was fighting some female on crypto. I set my alarm to be ready and still late. Oh, bless you. Don't worry, because I'm normally very, very early. I'm ready for everything, but I always get late as well. So that's a little bit like me. I am gonna just check is it glitching where you guys are, or is it just from my end? Just check all the ports, because I give all my time for free. because I love you guys so much, and I want you guys to succeed. Maybe someday, but also the other thing is I don't need it. Rusty Ball. Oh, I want to illegally evade taxes. Don't we all? The only people who can evade taxes legally are the people who should be paying their taxes, the elite, because there are loopholes, etc. Do you guys know what's his name? Oh my god, I can see it glitching so bad. If it dies, and we'll just come back next week. Elon Musk, the way that he's not paying any taxes, there are so many loopholes. It's unbelievable. Nightbot. Oh yeah. You guys are talking amongst yourself and you're talking to the bots, which is nice. Okay, so Shadow Chaser, thank you for letting me know there's no glitches. Angie Mike Volmer, thank you. Okay, so there are pros to both Bitcoin and rental real estate. Now, Bitcoin adoption, the other thing that most people don't understand is actually what Bitcoin is. What Bitcoin is. And I don't know, I'm just getting to a place in my journey where I'm just starting to think there's so much information out there now. Some people do. I mean, if you're older or if you work, and you've got kids at home, you don't have the time. But there are some people out there who do have the time to learn about Bitcoin, and they're just lazy. They really, really are. And then they argue over everything. Have you noticed them? You guys must know those people. The ones who argue over small little things. Oh, but what happens if Satoshi comes back? And I'm like, okay, well, if Satoshi comes back, it's not going to be a good thing because blah, 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 blah. But at the moment, he hasn't come back. And it's so difficult sometimes just talking to people. Oh, what happens if there's a 51 attack on Bitcoin? I'm like, well, that's almost impossible. In fact, that probably is impossible now. And then they're like, oh, but what happens if it happens? And I'm just like, oh, okay. Anyway, Bitcoin is getting a huge amount of adoption. Countries are buying Bitcoin. We've spoken on this channel about who have we spoken to? Let's just recap. Iran, Russia, China, the UK. We spoke about El Salvador. We've covered America. We've covered Bulgaria. We've covered Bhutan. We have covered Pakistan. Just there, we've covered 9 countries that we've sort of deep dived on. Another country that I do want to cover is Nigeria very, very shortly, as soon as I can. Hello, Hornet. How are you? Oh my God. I shouldn't laugh near this. I shouldn't laugh near the microphone. What happens if aliens land in my garden? Well, no one knows because it's not happened yet. Exactly. Have you noticed that some people just argue for the sake of argument, and it's like, well, why don't we just tell you what's happening now? Why don't we tell you what's going on instead of taking all of these questions out of air? Welcome, David. I hope you're well. David's a brilliant supporter, just like everyone else on, he follows me on X. So we've got countries buying a huge amount of Bitcoin. Countries who used to ban Bitcoin, they're now buying Bitcoin. Countries who used to FUD Bitcoin, they're now buying Bitcoin. Countries who have manipulated the price of Bitcoin openly are now buying Bitcoin. Countries who have put in regulation to say in the past, I'm just going to leave that comment there. I won't read it out. Countries who have flooded Bitcoin, all the rest of it, all of these countries are buying. What I don't understand is how some countries, such as the UK, have such a strong anti-money laundering mindset that they refuse to even sort of accept Bitcoin, have some decent framework around it. These countries are going to be left behind. More than that, countries on one hand, more than that, look at the companies and the institutions that are buying and adopting Bitcoin. A huge amount. It's almost every single day, a new publicly traded company will come out and announce that it has bought Bitcoin for its. Oh, I better take that off. I do apologize. It has announced that it has added a Bitcoin to its treasury. Companies are continuously, institutions are buying Bitcoin. They're buying up the supply of Bitcoin. And when these companies and these countries are buying Bitcoin, these Bitcoins have been taken off the exchanges, and many of them will not see a public exchange ever again, or they might even not even come onto an exchange again. Michael Saylor is going to, or he has said that he's going to burn his seed phrases after, when he passes away. We've got Strategy, who have said that they're not going to sell their Bitcoin for at least 100 years. The America, the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, the Bitcoins that are going into the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve will be held there for a period of 20 years, and they can only be used to bring down the American debt, which is a good move. So there's a huge amount of adoption that's happening behind the scenes when it comes to Bitcoin. Average Joe, unfortunately, the people who need Bitcoin, they've been fudded so badly that they are already out. Bitcoin, how many times have they said that Bitcoin is dead? And that's why I don't think Ethereum is dead. I think Ethereum does have good technology. Yes, it has its issues, but there are other projects building and other blockchains building on Ethereum. Ethereum will, I believe, surprise us all. So we've got Bitcoin adoption. More than Bitcoin adoption, Web3 will be built on blockchain technology. So all of this adoption, Bitcoin is not going anywhere. But this is one of the things, everybody right now, they all go towards getting a bit of real estate, like my parents did, like many others. If I talk about some of the YouTubers who have been on the channel, one moment, I see loads of other people in the chat. Who's here? Hang on. So we covered David. Alexandra G. Hello, Mod Queen. We absolutely love Alexandra G. She does so much for the community. And the other thing is, I don't actually know how she does it. I don't actually like being a mod. I really, really, really hate it. I do not like being a mod. I would prefer to sit there and just watch the show. I don't want to read every single comment and, all the rest of it. And then she puts in all the links. She's absolutely amazing. She's like a true professional. And we've got Harp. How are you, brother? Yep, the Piper crew has joined us. We love the Pipers, the Piper crew. Wales buying. Oh, my God. Let me see if I can move this somewhere so I can see it better. Wales buying, price lagging. What does that tell you? Front run that. Stack sats now. I totally agree. And here we go. We've got the legend himself, Mr. Army Piper. Good day to you as well. Oh, she's amazing. Okay, awesome. So there's a huge amount of Bitcoin adoption, but it's not grassroots anymore. So when Bitcoin first started out, it was all grassroots adoptions. It was the rebels. The rebels took over Bitcoin. They were nurturing Bitcoin. They were buying Bitcoin. There was no CEO. There was no, hello, JR, how are you? I hope you're well. And Soul, I hope you're well as well. So there was no CEO, etc. It was grassroots. It was the rebels. It was cyberpunks, and it was people who understood blockchain. It was people who understood this technology. Even back then, it was very, very difficult to understand. And I've just done an interview with NFT Demond, who bought Bitcoin back in 2010. Amazing. And then also I've actually done an interview, a Crypto Stories interview with Taco, and he was very, very early. I think he was 2010 or 2011 into Bitcoin, very, very early. So only certain people back then, it was a grassroots, it was average Joe, the people who saw society, who saw the corruption, and they saw a way out with Bitcoin. That's how it initially got adopted. Now what we're seeing is we're seeing the top dogs, the countries, the companies, the institutions, the millionaires, the billionaires buying Bitcoin, taking Bitcoin off the exchanges, all the rest of it. And it's one of those things that's a little bit scary because there's over 3,000 billionaires in the world, and all it takes is 1 second for a billionaire to think, oh, you know what, I'm actually going to go and buy some Bitcoin. He doesn't need to go through his shareholders, he doesn't need to go through anything. The amount of Bitcoin left on OTC is I think it's well less than 150,000, which is absolutely nothing. Okay, moving forwards, there are a lot of things, the downsides. Let's talk about the downsides of before we talk about the downsides of owning a rental property. Let me tell you, so some of the YouTubers who have been on. So we've had Lewis Rashkin, who has come on. Lewis supported the channel literally just from the beginning. We did his crypto story. Not only did we do his story, he's been on twice to do market reviews. I know him really, really well. And he is now a presenter at the Coin Bureau YouTube channel, which is absolutely amazing because that's like one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world. So yeah, I wish him luck. So just very quickly, Lewis, what he decided to do was last bull run, he made quite a bit of money. He decided that he wanted to travel. So he bought is it called a condo? I can't remember what he said, but I think it's a flat. I'm not entirely sure in America. So he bought a flat, I believe, in America. He put that on rent. He's traveling the world. That's bringing in income from him. And then obviously with his trading and the YouTube, etc., he was able to live literally all over the world. He's now currently in Dubai because of the work he has to do with the Coin Bureau. But before that, he was in Thailand, and I saw his property in Thailand. It was absolutely amazing. It was huge. It was massive. And he was telling me that if this property was in New York, it would cost £4,000, $4,000 every single month, and that's if he got it cheap. And over there, him renting that apartment and paying all of his bills, food, everything was costing him 1,000 US dollars. So he was able to do that. He was able to do that because he had his property, all the rest of it. So that's just a weight off his mind. Then we had who else did we had or have on? We had Jake Gordon on. Jake Gordon's very, very successful. He did a lot of drop shipping, and he made a huge amount of money to the point I don't know how many properties he was able to buy, but he has a massive property portfolio. And when he came into crypto, his parents were like, "What are you doing? You got to buy property. You put it on rent. Blah de blah de blah de blah." And all the rest of it, but he sees the vision of Bitcoin and other altcoins and blockchain technology to be more beneficial than owning his property. When it comes to personally, I do have a lot of property. My ex has property that's on rent, but it is such a headache. Like, oh my God, like I'm so glad I do not have rental property. It is such a headache. My parents have rental properties. Oh my God, like where do I even begin? The amount of stories I can tell you. My friends, some of them have rental properties. It is a headache. It's not like, okay, you're going to buy this property and then you're just going to walk away from it. I think some people do, some people can, but the vast majority of people do have problems. The tenants can be very, very difficult. Either they can be very demanding, they're always on the phone, or complaining about the smallest thing, or they can be, very, very good. Or if I went to Switzerland. I went to Switzerland, and this lady, our tour guide, was talking to us, and she was like, we had a family over from, I'm not going to say what country it was, and my mum worked so hard, and literally what she was able to build was this rental property. It was for her retirement. I don't know if the father was around, her husband was around. So la di la di la. And she goes out, one family came, jumping on the beds, all the rest of it, and literally everything that she had made from that property, I think it was like in the 20s, it was tens of thousands of pounds, whatever, euros or whatever they had, she had to put back in to renovate that property. So yeah, it wasn't so fruitful for her. Okay, so anyway, the downsides of having a rental property, which I'm not going to deny, having a rental property is absolutely amazing. Like I said before, you get a monthly income. If it all works out, you get a monthly income, and also the property goes up in value over time. There's a lot of downsides though, is the hassle and the management. Tenants can be late with rent, they can damage property or break leases, and it's very, very common. Very common. I don't know, maybe the UK, we just have weird tenants. I don't know what it's like in other places in the world. You may have to deal with repairs and complaints and legal issues. You're hiring a property manager costs, it can cost anything around about 10% of the rental income. And to be fair, I would actually hire a property manager. I wouldn't do it myself. Vacancy risk. So if your property sits empty, you lose income, but you'll still probably be paying expenses. You might have to pay tax on the property. You might have to pay your mortgage repayments on the property. Blah de blah de blah. So this is the risk with it if it's vacant for too long. And then also it's like you have to find a good tenant. You just can't have anyone, because that's more drama, and nobody wants drama, and nobody wants chaos. Retail spaces can take a lot of time to release. You do actually get a lot more money if you do have something commercial. I know that because I was once looking into buying a commercial property, and I'm so glad I did not. You've got the maintenance cost, you've got repairs, plumbing, roofing, you have the capital expenses like big renovations, etc. I'm just beginning on the downsides of owning a rental property. So let me just have a quick look what's going on in the chat. You guys are talking to each other. I'm just nosing. Oh, Warpaint. Enjoy the interview with Brandon. Yes, Brandon is from the Green Candle YouTube channel. He's actually an amazing guy. He really is. He's a Bitcoin maxi, and I love his story because in March 2020, the COVID crash, thereabouts, he had a girlfriend, and he saw the vision of Bitcoin, and he put the money, or their money, his money, into Bitcoin. And she came to him literally crying her eyes out, saying, oh my God, like, what about our future? What are you doing? Blah, de, blah, de, blah. Thankfully, he didn't listen, or, somehow he calmed her down. But she didn't last long. But his Bitcoin that he bought at the time did. Buddy M50. Central banks now, many banks now, commercial banks, are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets. Oh, thank you, Alexandra G. 51 viewers, only 19 likes. Oh, I can see here it says 57, but I think that's some people are on X. Sold my rentals for crypto. Very interesting. Very interesting, because holding crypto is not easy. It really isn't. I didn't know how difficult holding crypto was until I tried to hodl through some major crises. Um, Holding crypto is not easy. I'm fixing a rental right now. 9K cash. Gosh. Okay, so you're in America. Tenants are a pain. They're such a pain. Rusty Bot agrees. Never again. I know, and it's sovereignty as well. You know, you want to have complete control over your wealth. Who wants to be neighbors with Crypto Princess in Dubai? I'm actually such a good neighbor. I give food to my neighbors all the time. I think it's like the Asian in me. My parents, honestly, I hated it. When I was a child, I absolutely hated it. We were 13, like, 12, 13 years old. And my brother didn't have to, by the way, because it was different for men. For boys, it's different. But any time that we had guests, etc., we had this thing. If they were more than from half an hour or 40 minutes away, they had to have full dinner. So I learned how to cook, and I learned how to feed lots and lots of people. And I'm really good with my neighbors. I give them lots of food. Will the Bitcoin treasury companies make the bull market more explosive or nah? Oh, we have to come to that. That's a massive question. I have my what's its name? I have my views on that. It might be a little bit controversial though, because everyone's very bullish at the moment, but we'll see. Okay, so also with this downside of having a rental property, is things like the up cost. We have just spent the last two live streams, which were really, really sad, literally going on and talking about buying property. And it's horrible because people need somewhere to live. And the last live stream, we covered generational wealth, how it used to be passed down through property. But can you imagine? Because if this is happening to other people, it's probably going to happen to us as well. You can't ignore what's happening in the world and think, oh, because you're Crypto Princess or you're so and so, it's not going to happen to you. But can you imagine? It's so horrible. Working 50, 60 years of your life, you put in all that energy, all that time, and in the end, you've got to sell your property to, pay for your own care, and you can't leave anything for your, children and your grandchildren or your family if you've got nieces and nephews and, all the rest of it. It's actually really, really horrible. And we spent some time going through that and many other things. That's not the same with Bitcoin, but we'll come to that. You also need to have taxes when you buy or you sell property, closing costs, inspections, renovations. There's a lot of upfront costs, even when you're selling or buying, and property ties up capital. Your capital is not liquid. There's market risk as well. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same volatility as a Bitcoin. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. But there's always economical downturns. Every 10 odd years, we have a recession. There's a local supply shortage or all the rest of it. And then also you have, locally, you might get loads of, with everything that's happening in the Middle East, all that's going to do is it's going to create refugees. And what are these refugees going to do? They're all going to flood into Europe. So we haven't seen it yet from, some countries in the Middle East, but that's what happens when your country or other countries, you go in and you bomb certain countries, or you just bomb anyone, you create refugees. The people can't live in that area, so they have to go somewhere. So very, very soon we're going to have a new influx of refugees, and if these refugees the only place that they can find is your backyard or in your area. It brings down the what's its name, the value of the houses in that area. Property is also very, very illiquid. Real estate takes a lot of time to sell. One thing that I will say to you is that when I sold my first property, I didn't actually sell it via an estate agent, and I do not ever expect to sell a property via an estate agent. They take too much. I don't know how much the fees were, like 1 or 2% or 3%. I'm not entirely sure, but I would never do that. So when I had my first property, I sold that back to the council. So I sold it myself. Another one of my friends, what she did was she put a board outside her house. And as somebody was driving, they came and they knocked on the door and they said, "Oh, your property's for sale." And she's like, "Yeah, it is." And he bought her property. There's many different ways of actually selling your property rather than going through an estate agent. Dave Digital, welcome. And Wick, welcome to you as well. Maintenance taxes, two things that are the funniest things when it comes to property management. Okay. I don't know what you're doing, Dave Digital. Well, okay, I was just reading that. Okay, so another thing about rental property is the market risk. It's illiquid. If you had to, for example, God forbid, anyone's ever caught up in a war or a tsunami or a natural disaster, blah, 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 it's very difficult to take your money out. And lastly, obviously, we need to look at the legal issues. Rent control laws can cap income. There's zoning charges or city regulations that can reduce property use or value or restrict it. And eviction rules often, especially in the UK, favour the tenant. And this is something that in our family we've had to deal with. We had a couple and a couple and a baby, a young family come in, all the rest of it. We didn't obviously know, but the father, the man of the house, was a bit of a drunk. He worked as, I don't know, a plumber or a builder or something similar. But because he was drunk, he got his driving license taken away from him and he couldn't work and they couldn't pay taxes. And oh my God, getting them out of the property was next level high. You just literally had to become a lawyer. My brother had to literally become a lawyer. It was so difficult getting them out of the house. It was unbelievable. And obviously, we've just spoken about taxes as well. So although a long time, well, I'm going to say a long time ago, it's probably still the case now. It's just not the case in my family, but or with me. Having your own house and then having a rental property or having 2 rental properties or 3 rental properties, that was the absolute goal. That was when you made it. Because then obviously if you had nieces and nephews or children or family or whatever, you can always hand these properties down as inheritance and all the rest of it. There's so much benefit to it. But when you actually look at it underneath the surface, unless you get really good tenants, and you have a property in a decent area that's going to give you a lot of returns for it, owning a property nowadays is not like it was before. Now, there is also downside to owning Bitcoin. We all know the downsides for owning. Oh, and that, yes, Dave Digital. Property taxes, lifetime rent for homeowners. But also, when you look at it the other way around as well, when somebody starts to rent property, it's very, very difficult for them to save up for their own. The whole system's broken. To save up for their own deposit and buy their own, property and all the rest of it. Okay, so there is a lot of downside to owning Bitcoin. A lot of us have been in the space for a long time. A lot of us have experienced this as well. Bitcoin's prices can easily swing 10 to 30% in a day. We've all seen that. We've all seen that. And it's not unusual to see Bitcoin fall 50 to 80% in bear markets. That's common. Timing matters a lot. If you buy at the peak, you have to hold before you break even and then you make more money, if that makes sense. So although Bitcoin is the best performing asset of all times, I do think it will continue to be the best performing asset of all time. You have to have a long-term mindset. Most people do not have a long-term mindset. A lot of the people in the chat right now, they're traders. A lot of people in the chat right now are traders. I now don't trade Bitcoin. I don't even swing trade it. When I buy sats, they're there for my great grandchildren. I'm not even going to have them for myself. I do have an alts bag for myself, and I keep that completely separate, to the point sometimes I don't even know how much Bitcoin I have when I DCA, because I'm just like, well, it's not like I'm going to use it unless I really had to. But Bitcoin is highly volatile. However, if you can have a long-term mindset, you will know, and if you can zoom out from the charts, you will know that Bitcoin has never had an actual all-time high. From 2009, it has literally gone up. In 2014 was a bear market. 2008, 2014, the prices declined. 2018, the prices declined. 2022, the prices declined. 3 years. 3 years in Bitcoin's history, the price of Bitcoin ended the all-time low. It was basically, they declined. Other than that, Bitcoin has been trending upwards since its inception in 2009. And if you look at Michael Saylor, and a lot of traders will say this, they'll say, Michael Saylor's so silly, he's buying the top. No, he's not buying the top. He really isn't. He has a long-term mindset. When you have a long-term mindset, it doesn't matter what price you buy Bitcoin, because 10 years from now, it's going to be $1 million US. 20 years from now, God knows how much it's going to be in 20 years from now. So if you have a long-term mindset, owning Bitcoin, the volatility doesn't matter too much. It's people like us who are in crypto 24/7 and check our phones all the time. I'm actually much better now, but there was a time when I used to actually wake up during the night to check the price of Bitcoin. And there's another downside of Bitcoin. So we'll do the downsides now, and then we'll come back and then we'll reevaluate which one could potentially be better. Bearing in mind, nothing in this live stream is financial advice. Bitcoin has no income. Bitcoin does not pay dividends. It does not pay interest. It does not pay rent. You can only profit from it if the price goes up and you sell, if that makes sense. Regulatory risks. There have been a lot of regulatory risks. Governments can restrict the buying, selling, and holding of the buying and selling of Bitcoin. There's taxes. Bitcoins can be banned. Bitcoin activity or crypto activity can be banned. And also you have the risk of future laws. So, capital control, transaction reporting, which is coming in the UK, which is, oh my God, so silly, because the UK has an anti-money laundering mindset that they can't seem to get rid of. And that can hurt the value or the liquidity of Bitcoin. Oh, Jesse. Hello, how are you? I hope you're well. Who looks like Saddam Hussein? The top today may not be the top tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh gosh. Oh, yes. Okay, I get that now. Savage. Rusty bot. You savage. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. there are more downsides to owning Bitcoin. We have to be open about this. There's a security risk. You can lose your private keys, your wallet access, your Bitcoin can be gone permanently. Now, when I spoke to NFT Demon, whose story will be out this Thursday, bless him, he got into Bitcoin so early that I think it was for $10 US. He was able to buy 40,000 Bitcoin. I can't remember now. But anyway, at one point he had 40,000 Bitcoin in a paper wallet. He put the jeans that had the paper into the wash, and then obviously he couldn't be bothered to unfold the paper, and there went 40,000 Bitcoin, which he could probably have bought half of Dubai with. Back in the day. So yeah, so there's, you can lose your private keys. I actually have a ledger which is faulty, and I don't know what the seed phrase of it is. There's 0.3 Bitcoin in there, which is just over 30,000 US, and that could possibly be gone. There's hacks and scams. They're very, very common. In fact, and most of the YouTubers who have come onto the channel, a lot of them, especially the OGs, have said that they've just lost their Bitcoin. They lost huge amounts of Bitcoins. For example, oh no, actually he hasn't yet been on. So there's hacks and scams. They're very common in the crypto space. So obviously we've got the security risk of Bitcoin, market manipulation. Bitcoin is influenced by big holders, whales, institutions, governments, and exchanges. Crypto is dirty. Crypto Princess, I'm going to say it because I know I'm going to actually do a couple of live streams on market manipulation so you guys can see it for yourself. But when you know what to look for, it is so obvious. There are coordinated sell-offs and hype cycles, and hype projects and all the rest of it. And there's so many dodgy things that happen behind the scenes. And that's why we see so many black swan events in the bear market. There's lack of regulation makes price manipulation easier than the traditional markets. China's openly has manipulated the price of Bitcoin multiple times. Russia's done it. America's done it. So many countries have done it. Germany tried to do it, but they weren't able to do it. But there you go. And Bitcoin does have limited daily life usage. It's not widely accepted for everyday purchases. Now, I personally don't think Bitcoin is a payments solution. Bearing in mind, okay, I must admit, in the white paper, it literally says electronical peer-to-peer peer-to-peer solution, a payments solution in the white paper. However, things do change. Even we know that what's his name, Satoshi changed his mind right at the beginning. I think it was in 2010 or 2011. Satoshi changed his mind on the block sizes of Bitcoin, which was one of his last correspondence before he disappeared. And back then, maybe they had thought Bitcoin was going to be a payment solution. I don't think it is now. I'm not joking. When these companies come out, and one day countries will come out and they'll be like to you, they'll be like the heroes. They'll be like, okay, you sell your Bitcoin and there'll be no tax on it. And that's not for you. Trust me, that's not for you. That's because they want your Bitcoin, because there might not be enough on the exchanges, or they don't want to fluctuate the price too much, or take the price up for Bitcoin. All the rest of it. And then obviously you've got companies. I know people are bullish, and let them be bullish. It's fine. Who are saying, okay, you can use your Bitcoin to buy a burger. Trust me, 5 years from now, you will regret it when you see the price of Bitcoin. And it's mostly speculative. Again, another downside to Bitcoin is it's mostly speculative asset rather than practical money. There's environmental concerns as well. Bitcoin mining uses large amounts of energy. However, a lot of the energy that's now being used to mine Bitcoin is renewable energy. I'm actually looking into buying a couple of Bitcoin miners. One that I'm going to have in a pool, a mining pool, and one I'm going to have as just a independent miner. I'm looking to do this over the bear market, if not sooner, because thank God we have so many different ways to make money in crypto. We have so many different ways to make money in Bitcoin. You can buy it, you can sell it, you can trade it, you can mine it, you can have trading bots, you can you can do that peer to peer lending. You can do so many things. And I think some people, bless them, have a very small mindset saying, okay, I'm just going to trade. I'm not going to do anything else. Or they have a mindset, oh, I'm just going to, what's its name? I'm just going to hodl it. And both of those mindsets are completely fine. But when you actually look into Bitcoin, you're like, well, wait, well, why don't I just look into mining? Let's just do it. If countries are doing it, if institutions are doing it, why don't I look into it? Why don't I do it? And that's my next thing, is getting a couple of miners, and also trading bots. In fact, I actually know someone, and I know it's right as well, because he sent me the screenshots. And but the thing is, I don't know what bot he's using, and I don't know how much capital he has, but he's getting over £1,000 back in Bitcoin through this bot. He is a very wealthy man, though, I must admit. He's a very wealthy man, but it's something that I want to look into as well. But do keep those avenues over. Okay, so there are environmental concerns, the downside of Bitcoin, environmental concerns, and also it creates public and regulatory pressure, especially in energy sensitive countries and groups, if that makes sense. And also you have a lot of psychological stress with Bitcoin. Not saying you don't have it in real estate. If you get the wrong tenants, you're definitely going to have psychological stress. In Bitcoin, it could be more because there's a constant, some people constantly track prices. There's FOMO, there's it all has an effect on focus, on mental focus, and on decision making. Bearing in mind, there are so many different traders. There's so many different traders. We don't have time. Okay, we don't have time. But what I'll say is, if you buy to invest, do know that when you buy to invest, it's like watching grass grow and paint dry. If you're not doing it like that, you're doing it wrong. Because I'm a position trader for all my altcoins, and most people don't even know what a position trader is, or a swing trader. People just don't know. Bless them. I think some people are so cute as well. Okay, let me just have a quick look at the chat. You guys have been really, really busy, and I don't know where I left off. Gosh, some of you are savages. I've gone quite far up the chat. Oh, Jessie, I hope your hip gets better. John Legend, I'm not sure if I've shouted you out. I don't remember, but welcome to you if I haven't. Crypto Princess can talk for hours about the topic of property and real estate. I can because I have a lot of experience in it, and I learned I sacrificed a lot to get to where I am today. Bitcoin, a store of value, definitely. It's like more of a monetary solution than it is a payments solution. Here we go. We've got Lightning Coin, Sol, USDC, USDT. They are more payment solutions than Bitcoin. Wick saying, me personally, Mr. Bankman. I do apologize. 1 second. There was a serious concern at the interception of the pandemic that real estate values will plummet if the population was substantially impacted. There was just so much crap when the pandemic happened, honestly. Oh, Jessie, I hope you're well. Bless you. Andrew, welcome. I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you're doing well. Jessie, you broke your hip. I thought the hip was the hardest bone to break. Oh my god. I hope you've got someone to look after you. You know, my community is so lovely because I know that they're, what's it saying, friendly trolls. Um, oh, bless you, Jessie. I'm glad you've got loads of people looking after you. That's actually really, really rare nowadays, unfortunately. That's really rare. Okay, so to summarize, the potential returns are very, very high in Bitcoin because it has drastically outperformed real estate. It's companies nowadays are raising not millions but billions of US dollars, not to buy property, not to buy real estate, not to, add more products to their line or services or whatever. They're buying it to buy Bitcoin. So smart money can see the potential of Bitcoin. um, in the rental property market, potential returns are moderate to high. They're safe. It's comforting. Income, you don't really get an income with Bitcoin. However, with the rental property, you do have a monthly income. However, you need to be aware that if there does come a time where your property is empty, you might be paying out for that out of your own pocket. Volatility wise, Bitcoin, it has a lot more volatility than property, which is low to moderate. And if you want to use it for leverage or taking out liquidity, it's harder with Bitcoin unless you sell it, but it's very easy to take out liquidity, etc., from retail property. Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. So does anyone remember in 2020 when once a week, and that was on a Thursday, everyone will stand outside, for the UK, it was a Thursday, stand outside and bash pots and pans for the NHS? I remember that. Oh, we were so dumb in the pandemic. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at if we come to a conclusion now. It all depends. So this live stream was inspired by one of a member of the community who asked me about my property portfolio. Me personally, I don't have rental property. I wouldn't. If right now, knowing everything that I know about Bitcoin, knowing it's the future, knowing that the president of the United States and his companies are literally buying Bitcoin, and he doesn't seem to be the most honest person. Like, it's all self-interest as well. Um, I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than having a second or a third or however much real estate property, if that may a rental property, a rental a rental property. But it all depends on your own personal circumstances. Where it used to be the actual pinnacle. The American dream was buying your own house, paying off the mortgage, blah de blah de blah. Then the next thing was actually buying a property. Nowadays, I remember when my friend, she bought her second house. So her husband has a really good job. He's a pharmacist. So they had their one house, and then they bought a second house. But to do that, they had to have a mortgage on both of these houses, because they had to take equity out of one house and then use that as the down payment for the other house, which, it was. Okay, I'll let you do that, David. Yeah, you put in a word from me. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, so she had one house, she took out the equity out of that house, bought a second house. She went through a very difficult time when the second house wouldn't be, she couldn't get proper tenants for it. They did struggle a lot there. They're a proper success story. They've now got two houses. Both of the mortgage payments are quite down. Unless you sacrifice, you get nowhere in life, absolutely nowhere. And if you can't sacrifice, you're just going to be living hand to mouth. At the end of the day, if you do have money aside, getting into real estate or getting into Bitcoin, you know, both are good things. It's better than spending money because nowadays people don't know how to save money. They really do not know how to save money. And I can go on a lecture on this, but it's been an hour. So nothing here is financial advice. What we've covered today, we've covered the benefits of Bitcoin, the adoption of Bitcoin. We've covered the benefits of owning a rental property. We've covered the what's its name? The disadvantages of owning a rental property, and also the concerns and disadvantages of owning Bitcoin. They do balance themselves out. If you're looking for something that's less speculative, if you're looking for something that's less volatile, it would be getting a rental property. However, to get a rental property, like we discussed last week and the week before, it's not easy. Getting that down payment, getting that mortgage, when everybody's struggling, families are struggling, you now need to have two people. In most cases, both the parents are going to work. You have student debt, car debt, finance, you have rent, you have so many things, living costs, and all the rest of it. It's even difficult to even get the down payment to get a rental property. So whichever one you do, whether you buy Bitcoin or you get a property, you're doing very, very well. However, it is much more easier to buy small amounts of Bitcoin if you have a long-term mindset. Now, for me, I know some people are saying we're in a super cycle. I don't think we are in a super cycle. I do think next year will be the bear market, because this happens every single time. You have the halving year, then because of the scarcity, because of the halving, you have the parabolic bull run, which is obviously 2025. Prices go up, they cannot be sustained, mania hits, all the rest of it. It's market psychology, blah de blah de blah. You slide into a bear market, and then you have the recovery year, and it just repeats. So I do think that we will be in a bear market next year. So yeah, it just depends on your mindset, depends on how much money you have. Me personally, I would never buy another real estate property at this moment in time. I would put it all into Bitcoin. Okay, let me just quickly just check. We need to talk about this because I have my own take on this. I do. I might have a guest on. Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. We might have a guest on next week, and we might start talking about market manipulation or something similar. Maybe move away from real estate, because we've had 3 live streams talking about something or rather for real estate. Or we might go back to adoption, because oh my god, Bitcoin is getting adopted so much. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and on Thursday we've got a crypto story coming out, so do join us on Thursday for the crypto story, same time, and I'll see you soon.